rings, MVP of a Super Bowl, third leading receiver in NFL playoff history, most yards, most receptions, number 3. Now Fox Sports, NFL analyst Julian Edelman. You know, Tom Brady was on earlier in the week. Took kind of a jab at you. We'll get to that later. No reason to, have a border skirmish early in the interview.
I mean, with this...
What's going on?
Shots fired.
I know. It's ridiculous. Let's start with a non-Patriot story. I've always had this belief. Everything in the NFL is something. Nothing's everything. I would rather, with a new O-line and a coach on the hot seat, Aaron Rodgers, show up to camp. What was your take on that?
My take is, I know a lot of people do things differently. But God forbid the New York Jets start 1-3 in the beginning of the season, which they start with the Niners, Tennessee, Patriots. Who else? The last one? Someone else, regardless. And we all know that the Patriots are no good, but that defense is still the same defense. And that's who Aaron goes against. If they go 1-3, this is going to be such a big distraction for that locker room because everyone's going to be talking about it. This is New York City. This media. It's a media capital of the world. And you can't tell me, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but if I was in that locker room and Aaron Rodgers wasn't there for 3 days on the mandatory minicamps.
Having played 4 snaps last year.
Having played 4 snaps off of an injury when we have 2 new receivers. We got a bunch of new linemen that we added to the team with a CBA that doesn't allow us to practice a lot. I guarantee there's 4 or 5 guys, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in that locker room sitting there like, where's he at?
Where's our star quarterback?
Where's he at? Now, if they start 4-0, no one's going to care.
That's right.
But that's the NFL. I think it's a bad look for your leader, for whatever reason, to go and miss an unexcused absence. I mean, I was with Tom Brady in his 25th year or 23rd year, and he started missing OTAs here and there, but he was still there, never missed a mandatory minicamp. And, I just thought it was a bad look.
Yeah, that's how I look. And to your point, everything in New York's magnified, which is why it's a cautionary tale. If you go look at the history of New York, the guys that succeed grow with the city. Jeter, Eli Manning, Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
When you bring in a star, A-Rod, that's a prime example. It's harder because the expectations from day one are through the roof.
Yeah, and what people don't realize, you can't win games in the offseason, but you can lose them because this is ultimately where you gain your fundamentals. And later on in the year, you rely on fundamentals in high-stress situations. That's what you're going to naturally fall on. And so when you're a young receiver and you haven't played with the quarterback, and then you're going to go into training camp and things are going to be coming a lot faster, you have the pads on, it's going to be tougher for that continuity for that whole unit. And also with the linemen, when you're a receiver – during practice, those reps are so crucial because say you get something, you run a route and you catch the ball. The more important thing is after practice when you watch the film and you guys communicate on what was good about that, what was wrong about that, and that they're not going to have any of those reps. And I know it's just 3 days and he was there for organized team activities, but there's not a lot of practice time right now, and practice is crucial. Practice execution becomes game reality.
That's great. Also, this is why I thought it was a poor decision. Veteran offensive linemen do not take snaps in the preseason anymore. So September now, Julian, for veterans is a little bit like week 3 of the exhibition season.
Without a doubt.
You're kind of playing your way into the season.
And what is Aaron Rodgers? What's one of his strengths? His cadence. You know how hard it is to get a guy's cadence down on the, offensive line when he's barking, screaming. Like, I'm going to be interested to see these pre-snap penalties early in the year because Aaron relies on that cadence. He's one of the best to ever do it. Yeah. We used to call, one of the cadences Green Bay because we get a guy jump offside, try to get a free play. And Aaron's great at that, but that takes time to get guys on the right page to understand his voice and his inflections. So, I hope everything's good in his camp. I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, but it's not a good look.
Yeah. By the way, Brady, speaking of timing and receivers, Tom talked about on the interview prioritizing getting your top wide receiver the ball early in games.
We would always try to script so that everybody would feel like they were in the flow of the game. The last thing you want is your number one receiver to go 2.5 quarters into a game and not see a ball to get one target, because he's going to get discouraged. He's got to go out there. He's got to break the huddle. He's got to run out 25 yards to his alignment. He's got to run down the field as fast as he can, try to get open. He's got to run back to the huddle. It's a lot of effort that he's putting into not getting the ball. I think when you can reward that guy early in the game and figure out, okay, where is he at? How do I get him the ball?
And let's talk about that. Was that really a focus?
That was definitely a focus. He kept on talking about the rhythm of the game. When you get into the beginning of the game, everyone's got nerves. Everyone's got a little anxiety. And what cleans up those nerves is a play. You catch a ball, you get hit, that wakes you up. All right, now we're ready to really get into the flow of the game. And I remember times specifically after injuries or something with like a Gronk or a me, when you got into that game, it was like, we need to get me the ball, or we need to get someone who's been out for a while the ball early so you can gain that confidence, and also it's rewarding players in practice. There could be guys that are doing insane reps. They're doing great things in practice, and you try to get them the ball early. It's kind of like a reward factor as well. But getting the ball to your priority receivers was something that we always try to do to get guys in the flow of things, get guys confidence going, to let guys know, hey, we're going to keep it going here.
So you were recently at Patriots camp.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you see?
I saw a defense that was flying around. I saw a lot of communication out of the defense. I saw Jacoby Brissett looking confident, calling and communicating plays very well. And that's what you really want to see in organized team activities. You want to see execution, operation, like being able to get a play call in with a coach out of the huddle and communicating player to player, running plays on, not just first down, second down, third down, but calling plays like it's a game. They were doing a lot of that. It was really cool to see the new kickoff rule and them practicing that and the strategy of what people are going to be doing.
It's a pooch kick now.
Oh, it's a pooch kick. You're going to see a lot of fireworks on this play because, the touchback goes out to a 30, so they're incentivizing trying to keep the ball in play. And then also you're going to see body types start changing, guys that can shed blocks because they're only 10 yards or 5 yards apart. Right there, you don't need the speed. You need guys that can shed blocks and make tackles.
A lot of
linebackers, good in space type guys. And just the strategy, like, are they going to squib it? Are they going to pooch it? Are they going to have, I heard talks of Kansas City having a safety back there kicking it off because if they break that line, this is like a punt return now. You break that line, there's only one wave. The old kickoff, you'd have the wedge, you'd have your second wave, and then you have your safety wave, where so you had to get through three. You had a track. You'd find that track. You'd hit that track, and it was like NASCAR. You see smoke, you just bite your lip, and you find the lane and go, and you may get blown up, but you may not with a lot of waves. Now it's like a punt return where everyone's on top of you. You get vertical, you could make a one cut and get vertical, and you could be housing, and there's no safety. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do with these kickers. Maybe find some guy that's a safety, finding these rugby guys.
Because you don't need to have a great leg anymore.
You don't need to have a great leg. You just need to be able to get that squib or in that kick zone area. So I was impressed. Drake May had some really good throws.
Did he look a little rough? His footwork in college was dicey. What did you see?
He had it pretty dialed the day I was there. I saw him make an end line in cut in traffic, which is a tough play in the red area. So that's throwing an in cut on the back of the end zone with other guys, other defenders, making the proper read on hitting that in cut, going to his third read. So that was like really cool to see. But you also can't take too much with OTAs because everything's kind of scripted. He goes in, we have our 6 plays this period. You kind of know on this down and distance, the defense going to get that, give you this coverage. The mic call is going to be this. So the communication was very good for what I saw, but I didn't know how they were doing it behind the scenes. They could have been prompting that.
18 games is coming.
Yeah.
The union now is aware of it. They want a few more roster spots. I get it. That'll get 64 more jobs. I'm for that. I also think 17 games didn't dilute the product. It's just we like our football. I would demand, if I was a player, another bye week That feels realistic to me. Let's just stretch it out. Super Bowls are mostly domes anyway, warmer weather, so it doesn't bother me. If you